The summer of 1916 was both a worrying one and a sad one for people here at home. The Great War was raging at its height, and every day the newspapers were filled with long lists of soldiers who'd been killed in the fighting in France. Some days, page after page in close black type. You can imagine what it was like for Mrs. Kirby, with both her menfolk, husband and son, away at the war in France. She would await the postman's arrival, longing for a letter, but fearful lest he should carry the news she so dreaded.
Morning, Jess. Morning, Jess. Hello, for me. Aye.
Tom's dad was all right, though. A letter had come only the day before.
Any for me?
There's one for you, Tom.
Thank you. It's my dad. He's fine.
That's grand, Tom, love. Grand.
But those letters home took several days to arrive, and each day, in the newspaper, there were those long lists. Tom hardly dared look at them. Usually, if there were any bad news, somebody killed or seriously wounded, you heard from the War Office in London. Formal telegrams in buff envelopes, which the postman brought round with the letters. You know, I often felt that old Amos Corder half expected his bad news. It was his only son, too, David, killed in action. It's strange and often terrible how a tragedy like this affects people. It doesn't always show, but it's then that something changes in everybody. In Amos, something broke.
Whoa! Drop! Tom, go and grab his head. Whoa, right, whoa! Whoa, lad, whoa.
It sounds as if it came from the old quarry.
Aye, it did. Yeah, but there's nobody works down there now. Not that I know of.
Can I go and look?
Tom. All right, but be careful.
Good morning. We came to see what the noise was.
Working.
The quarry. I thought it was shut.
It was.
Is the army taking it over?
Could put it like that. The German army.
The German army?
Yeah, prisoners of war. Might as well make them earn their keep.
You mean you got Germans down there?
That's right.
Can we go and look?
Go on then. Be careful.
They look just like ordinary people.
What did you expect them to look like?
I don't know.
I read in my war magazine that they burn up women and children.
Oh, Tom!
Do you think it's true?
These chaps are all right. Glad to be out of it, I'd say.
You know, we ought to be going. Mum's waiting for us.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you.
It's all right.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Okay, Charlie.
Here you are, Julie, look. There was a workman, 66 years old. The Germans set fire to his mill, and a rough soldier seized him and threw him in the flames. Another German soldier made a young man strip and shot him in front of the villagers. There were women and children.
Now then, Tom, that's enough of that. Look, if you've done it, and take that letter to Mrs. Corder for me.
All right, Mrs. Kirby.
Oh, and Tom, put on a nice suit and see if you've got a dark tie.
Why?
It's David, their son. He's been killed. Oh, Mum. Aye, there's many a good man being lost just now. I don't know where it'll end. That's 3 from round here this past month.
It could happen to anyone, couldn't it?
Tom, your dad's fine and well? He said so in that letter you had from him this morning.
There's so many.
Tom was right. There were so many. 3 sons or fathers killed from among the folk around here in just 1 short week. And now, David Corder. And each time the news came, Tom thought, it could be my dad next. It could be Dad.
Tom?
Leave me alone.
Tom, Mum and I'll take that letter round to Amos.
Leave me alone! Can't you leave me alone?
Dan?
Yes, Mrs.
Dan? I'm just going over to the Corders with Julie.
Right on, Mrs.
Find a really hard job for Tom.
What?
Oh, never mind about the what. Just find him something.
Right on, Mrs. No shortage of hard jobs round here, any road.
Right, I'll fetch him.
Hey! What's to do, Mrs.? Is it a punishment or something? He hasn't been up to out, has he?
He's up in his room brooding, and that's no good for him. I'll have him out of there. Hard work will stop him brooding.
All right, if you say so, Mrs.
Tom? Come down here at once. I want you.
Coming!
And Julie? Make the beds while I'm getting ready. Well, make them again, and properly this time. Tom, Stan's got a job for you. Come with me. Hiya, Stan.
Right on, Mrs. Well, come on, lad. Now rain stopped, you best get this lot mashed up. Then you can take them into the barn before they go rotten. Oh, come on, lad. Hey, lad, it's no good brooding.
I know.
Here, tell you what. Go on, you get off. I can finish quicker on my own. Hey, but don't let Mrs. see you. Otherwise I won't half cop it from her.
Thanks, Stan.
try as he might, Tom could not see who it was who had fired the shot. He had no choice but to give chase, for none could tell to what lengths this desperate man might go to avoid discovery.
Who's there?
At length, Tom saw the stranger's destination ahead. Now Tom realized who it was he had been following. The mysterious gunman was Amos Corder.
Thank you, love. Let's take your bag. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Julie. Goodbye.
Love, wherever have you been?
Something odd happened. A German prisoner's been shot. At the quarry.
Shot?
From the top of the cliff.
Merciful heavens, what a dreadful thing.
I think Amos Corder did it.
Hey, lad. You shouldn't go saying things like that. That's libelous.
He did, Stan. I followed him afterwards and he went back to his cottage.
Not while we were there, he didn't.
No, he waited till you'd gone.
Tom, are you sure?
Yes.
Well, why would Amos want to do a thing like that?
It's obvious, isn't it? He's just had his son killed. And by Germans.
You mean
Yes, missus.
an eye for an eye?
I'm only supposing, mind.
Yes. That's it. An eye for an eye.
Good evening. I'm sorry to trouble you, good people, but we're looking into a shooting at the quarry. One of the prisoners.
Oh, yes, we heard about it.
Oh?
Yes, Tommy, I saw it. Saw it happen.
Oh, that was you, was it? One of my men shouted you to stop.
I know. I saw someone. It was someone who might have done it. And so I chased him.
I see. Any luck?
Is the German dead?
No, we've taken him to the cottage hospital.
Will he be all right?
Hard to say, lad. Hard to say.
Did you catch the fellow? The one you chased?
No.
Did you see him? See who it was?
Tom, I think you should tell them.
No, I didn't. He was too far away.
Tom!
I didn't.
Which direction did he go?
I don't know. I lost him.
Tom, you know most people hereabouts. Have you ever seen him before?
No, never.
Their questioning seemed to go on forever. But an idea had formed in Tom's mind, a belief that Amos had done nothing wrong and must be protected. After all, he reasoned, we were at war with Germany, so German soldiers were the enemy. They had slain Amos's son, and all Amos had done was to try and kill one in his turn.
We're wasting our time.
But when at last the officer and the policeman had gone, Mrs. Kirby showed that she too had some beliefs of her own.
Tom, how dare you? What can you be thinking of? Saying you'd no idea who it was?
Well, I'm not sure.
That's not what you said before they came.
We can't get Amos into trouble just for wounding a German. I mean, they're the enemy. They killed his son.
That's not for you to judge. There are laws about these things and they're to be obeyed. Now, I think that you ought to go right out after them and tell them the truth.
Supposing I was wrong.
Tom wasn't wrong. But there was little Mrs. Kirby could reply to that. Oddly enough, Tom felt easier. And the next morning...
Good morning, children.
He was up and about early, quite his old self again. Somehow, the pangs he had felt on telling lies to protect Amos Corder were almost forgotten. Or so it seemed. But he was soon to discover that things weren't going to be as simple as that.
Who knows? Hey, dangerous it could be.
I mean, pinching stuff like that, it's not a kid's game, you know.
Morning, Tom.
Good morning, Stan. Morning, Mr. Harris.
Morning, boy.
George here's just been telling me they've had a break-in down at Quarry last night. Got away with a box of dynamite.
Dynamite?
Aye, proper fuss about it. Got the soldiers out searching and all.
Nasty stuff is dynamite. Especially in wrong hands.
What do you mean, Stan?
He means nobody'd take dynamite unless he were going to blow somewhat up. Stan.
Aye.
Do you think they'll catch him?
Got to, lad. It's a serious business. And like we told you last night about the other matter, anything you might hear that could be evidence, well, you're duty-bound to step forward and speak up.
Yes, sir. I don't know anything, Mr. Harris.
Well, come on, George. Can't hang about here all day. Gotta get on, you know.
I must be getting along as well. Anything that comes to mind now, Tom, anything at all, you'll let me know, won't you?
Yes, sir. What two are going to market?
Well, them 2 store pigs is ready. So others will be ready a week of Wednesday. I wonder if it's out to do with yesterday.
What?
Amos Corder. First you saw him, then you didn't. Yeah, well, we'll let that be. But there's only one man I know as know how to handle dynamite. And that's Amos Corder.
Amos?
Aye. He were quarryman. Dynamite were his job. Mind you, that were years since, afore he took up with farm. I should hate to think of him heading for a load of trouble. If somebody didn't warn him, like.
You mean about the search?
I don't mean anything, lad. Only what I say.
Morning, Tom.
Is Mr. Corder in?
No. You best come in. Oh, would you like something? Tea?
No, thank you.
Cider? Would you like some cider?
No, really. Thank you.
Well, what have you come to see Amos about? He's not here.
When do you expect him back?
I don't know. He's not himself just now. Our son.
I know. I'm sorry.
He went out last night. Rabbit shooting, you know. I've hardly seen him since. He was out, away all night. I'm at my wit's end. David was all he loved in the world. His whole world was David. Now he's nothing. If you see him, Tom, ask him to come home. He'll catch his death stopping out all the night.
I will, Mrs. Corder. I'll watch out for him. Mr. Corder's not here.
Oh, it's you, is it? What are you doing here?
I was just visiting.
Mrs. Corder!
No, don't. She's upset.
Yes?
We're wondering if your husband's about.
No, why?
I'm sorry to trouble you, but we're making some inquiries. Some trouble at the quarry yesterday.
Trouble? What sort of trouble?
Someone took a pot shot at one of the men working there.
A German prisoner.
And in the night, someone broke into the explosives store and stole some dynamite.
Oh, no. But leave her alone. She doesn't know anything about it.
Do you?
What do you mean?
If you know anything at all about this, then you are bound by law to tell us.
Amos. Oh, Amos.
Where is your husband, Mrs. Corder?
Look, the German was just wounded.
It was a case of attempted murder.
Murder? Well, how can it be murder? I mean, the Germans are the enemy.
Look here, Tom Grattan. A German prisoner is lying seriously wounded in the hospital. If he should die, then someone is guilty of murdering him. That is the law. And if anyone knows anything about it and refuses to speak out, then that person is just as guilty of murder as the one who fired the shot.